Yeah, go ahead, Hannah. Yeah, so kind of going back to that theme that Joanna shared at the start of her presentation about failure being okay. Something we want to share to normalize failure and how you rebound from that, just how you receive it. One of the big things we had in our plans was to do a career seminar, which many of you heard about. We planned it for early January. We put in a lot of work on the formatting, gathering panelists. I think we had like 7 or 8 STEM professionals that signed up to be panelists for this. And we got really, really low response. I think we had like maybe 5 responders or something like that. So it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. I mean, partly we think because of the timing and stuff like that, just given the state of the world, obviously. But this is definitely something we're going to come back to. With better timing, I think we still have the panelists that signed up. All of them said they would, return and do it again when we rescheduled. And I did hear, I think maybe it's WVU's club that's talking about doing something very similar, having STEM professionals come in and talk about their STEM path and things like that. So if there are any club members out there or clubs at any campus that want to work with the alumni group on getting those, like a career seminar together, because I think our plan for this was basically a network-wide seminar for all First2 students versus like kind of localized to the clubs. So if any clubs are interested in that, definitely reach out to me or Hannah, and we would be super happy to work with you on that. Yeah, Hannah, agree. Yeah, so just gonna keep it rolling for time's sake. One of the other big things we've started working on recently is something that originated with Sarah, and Sarah can give a lot better background on this, but basically, we have some outreach struggles. And one of the ideas we had was to create some form of like scholarship where instead of having, we have all this data we've collected on people that apply to the immersion programs, which is of course probably a super small sample of the amount of people that would apply to a scholarship or some form of that, and give us a lot more data so that we can become better at targeting students. Because we've had these discussions plenty of times in the past about how tough it is to identify rural first-gen students, right? So this is something we kind of talked to Samantha about just briefly over email because we noticed that she had created the application for the immersion programs, and a lot of the data on those applications is what we'd want to do. So it'd be very similar to that, and would love to have anybody's feedback on this, especially with like the technical details of how we go about this. I'm not even sure like how we can establish a scholarship through First2, like how that would happen, if that even can happen. So definitely any feedback on this, any advice would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, and some longer term goals, which are pretty much the same as they have been, and kind of will naturally happen in a way, especially this first one with industry partnerships. We started to create those when we were reaching out to find panelists for our seminar. It just makes people more aware of what First2 is, because they're, we're asking them to be a panelist. They're like, oh, what even is First2? So they kind of hear about it through us, and they spread the word. And so we're starting to develop those, and that takes time, of course. And something, we do want to partner with student leadership, which we have on here, but also the advisory group more. Just a lot of our work kind of co-aligns. So yeah, long-term goals, more industry partnerships, more partnerships with people in First2 where we overlap a lot of our work. Yeah, and as Joanna kind of signed us up for earlier, to be judges, we're always happy, like we say, every meeting that we've been in, always open to helping with ideas across the network that, might not necessarily fall into one specific working group, or there's not somebody to take it at the time. Happy to hear any ideas that people have for us moving forward. So yeah, I don't know if we have really time for questions or anything like that, feedback, but if you do, if we don't have time for it right now, feel free to email Hannah or I. Would be happy to hear what you had to say.
We do. We have 2 minutes right now, so I think that's great. And do you have regular meetings of your working group, Tyler and Hannah?
We do. It kind of is sporadic at times. Like we do try to meet maybe once every other week, and Hannah and I are in constant communication. But when we're like diving into stuff more specifically, we might have 2 meetings a week. So it's me and Hannah are constantly communicating, but there's only 4 of us total working right now in our working group. So
We have 5 now because Fatima's going to join us now.
There we go.
I know I still have a couple of people who are interested in potentially getting involved when you're ready for that.
Tyler, I have a quick question for you. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to put it on the chat and have it get lost. But in terms of the scholarship idea, which I still love, but I didn't want to be like pushing it. I love it so much. I'm so happy to help with it. I think it's wonderful. I'm so excited about it. Talk to me about timeline. Do you guys want to just like try to take a run at it for this year or just work on it for next year?
I mean, I think it would be awesome to take a run at it. I mean, we still have time, I think, and we don't really have that much like, I mean, I think the hardest part is like navigating whatever loopholes we have to go through to establish it. Like, I don't know how that works at all. I mean, we have like basically the questions we want to ask. We have a prompt that we want to do, like all the data points that we want to collect, all that's ready to go. We just need to know how to make it happen, basically. And that's what we're lacking right now.